And as a Palestinian, I'm honored our mayor was able to do this. I'm humbled to be able to be a part of this. And one step forward, and then tomorrow we take another one. When you do this advocacy work on Palestine, you don't get to feel good about yourself. We don't go celebrate now because we're going to read the news when we get home.
And Palestinians and Kashmiris have been helping each other since always. So it's important to also remember Kashmir.
Did you know that there are 155 different people groups in the Greater Toronto area of 6 million people?
I think Canada should expel the Israeli ambassador. They're committing a genocide. Military personnel from Israel walking around here in Canada, people that actually are mass murderers.
Assalamu alaikum, I am Ahmed Ramadan for Muslim Network TV, and this is GTA Muslims Today. We are here at the council chambers in Mississauga where they just voted on a motion, and we're going to speak to some of the attendees here and some of the speakers. We're going to start with Dr. Raed Dad, who's a professor at the European University. Can you tell us what you do there?
I teach diplomacy, international relations, international law, and all the things that how we manage global affairs.
So why are you here today? You know, obviously what's going on in Palestine is a global issue. This is a municipal, council chambers. Why are we here today?
You know, it is a global issue, but we deal with it every day. We live with this burden. We live with this pain. It was important for the city to show the Palestinian, the Arab, the Muslim community here that they got our back. These are our elected officials. Carolyn Parrish has been a friend to our community for many years, and she's the one who wanted to do this. So we came out today to support her, to support this, in order to support ultimately Gaza and the Palestinians all over the world, human rights all over the world. As long as there is a catastrophe anywhere, a genocide is a crime against all of us, not just Palestinians. So we need to come together, and this is a small step, one of the first municipalities in the world to do this. The first in North America to do this. So it's going to take a step. Now we go to Milton, then we go to Burlington, then we go to Oakville, then we go out to Calgary, Vancouver, and Montreal. Until we all go to Ottawa, we recognize a Palestinian state, we recognize the Palestinians' right to self-determination, and this country takes a role as peacekeepers again. No more of this Stephen Harper militarized foreign policy. We need to go back to the proper Canadian way to conduct foreign policy, especially if we want to expand our trade routes, expand our global footprint as a country here. This is a step towards it. And as a Palestinian, I'm honored our mayor was able to do this. I'm humbled to be able to be a part of this. And one step forward, and then tomorrow we take another one.
So, Raed, honestly, I believe we need to have a longer conversation with you about some of the topics that you're discussing. But I'm just going to ask you right now about what took place here. The motion passed. How do you feel about that?
I feel great. It's like I said, it's a great step forward. Now we have to work on it though. This isn't, we can't all go pat ourselves on the back, feel good about ourselves. When you do this advocacy work on Palestine, you don't get to feel good about yourself. We don't go celebrate now because we're going to read the news when we get home. We're going to see what's going on. So we keep going forward until first we feed the children in Gaza, then we free the children in Gaza, and then we work on expanding this around the world where we get to free the Palestinians in every part of the world. But today, Palestinians in Mississauga get to walk around with their head held high. My nieces in their schools get to do that. University students get to do that. As we drive to our jobs every morning, we get to do that for a day. Tomorrow we get back to it.
And for, you're saying when you get home, you see the news. For many of us, it's when we get into our cars and open our phones, we're seeing it, immediately. My last question is something that was mentioned here. Mississauga and Canada tends to celebrate diversity, and inclusiveness. But this was a real opportunity to do something where it matters, and it's not just a show or symbolic, but there's real meaning.
Yes, and I agree wholeheartedly. And now what the mayor has done, she's given us an opportunity to continue this discussion. Now we must reach out to the individual councillors, work on holding a Palestine celebration here. Instead of us only coming to talk about death and pain, let's come and talk about who we are. Not who we are fighting, not what we are fighting, but what we are fighting for and what we are trying to defend. It's a great step forward, and hopefully this will open more doors as we proceed into the future.
Dr. Raed, thank you so much for taking the time.
We'll talk soon.
Shireen Khan, thank you. you so much for joining us. You were one of the speakers today. You mentioned in your speech about Kashmir. Can you let our viewers know kind of some of the parallels and why, the Palestine issue has affected a lot of indigenous oppressed people around the world?
Yes, so India and Pakistan, everyone thought that Kashmir was a part of India when actually Kashmir used to be a kingdom. And what else? So there is actually U.S. support with all of this. It's all tied in together, and Palestinians and Kashmiris have been helping each other since always. So it's important to also remember Kashmir because it was also an indigenous land, and they have gone through economic oppression. And it's just not fair anymore. So it's important that we speak up. And I'm Kashmiri myself, and it didn't dawn on me till last year that this is who I am. And that it's important to learn your roots because, I'm Kashmiri and I can barely get out anything right now. I'm learning things online. I'm learning things from people firsthand. So that's what.
Well, Palestine we've heard from a lot of people, it's kind of woken up their own roots and looking into their own past and that. So I could definitely understand what you're saying. So here today, what motivated you to come and talk?
I've just always empathized with Palestine ever since I've gotten more clear and could piece together what's going on and met more Palestinians and heard their stories. So all of it is just for the sake of humanity, and if we can stop a genocide, why not?
So the motion passed today. How does that make you feel being a Canadian?
I want to say I'm very happy, and I'm not surprised because I am very grateful for Carolyn Parrish for bringing that motion in and for being for Palestine and having gone to Gaza and supporting Palestinians always. So it's a very exciting feeling for some progress.
Shireen, thank you so much for taking the time. So Wayne, thank you so much for joining us. I just have some questions about what happened here today. First of all, why are you here?
I am a global citizen. My family came to Canada over 120 years ago as refugees from civil war and famine from Finland. And so when I see people who are struggling today with the issues of genocide, with the issues of being left out of society, I have to stand up with them. As a Canadian, today I am a global citizen, and what I see is absolutely wrong of what's happening in Gaza and the West Bank. And so I stand with my Palestinian brothers and sisters and walk with them. Jewish, Muslim, Christian, all of them.
And we did see a lot of diversity in the speakers and the people that were supporting this motion. What does it mean to be Canadian and see that there are so many different kinds of people that are coming together for this cause?
I start by thinking of Palestine in 1900. So that was 125 years ago. 1/3 Christian, 1/3 Muslim, 1/3 Jewish. And yet today it is completely changed. In Canada, we are a group of people who have all kinds of ethnicities. Did you know that there are 155 different people groups in the Greater Toronto area of 6 million people who have over 5,000 residents, at least 5 restaurants, and they exist in this city, in the area. I just happen to be one of them. But I have to embrace that. That's what Canada has welcomed, is we live out that we are Canadian, but we also live out our ethnic diversity, our background. And so I am proud to be of Finnish heritage. I cheer when we play Canada and we beat them. And I cheer when Canada beats the Americans. But I look at this and I say, I have to stand because you are not alone. And so today, there was 18 of us that stood before the Mississauga City Council. They are a group primarily Palestinian, of Arab, many of them Muslim. There were several Jews who stood up on our behalf. And me standing up. There was a Sudanese lady who was standing. Why? Because we stand for what is right.
So I'm assuming that you here supporting the motion, you're happy that it passed.
Oh, I am absolutely thrilled that it's passed, but also as an example to cities across Canada. Also as an example to cities around the world to support and stand up, because us citizens have to force the government to live out not just words, but action.
Wayne, thank you so much for taking the time.
Okay, take care, brother.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Rabbi. I wanted to ask you, first of all, we're here at the motion at the City Council in Mississauga.
Yes.
Why do you feel like, first of all, it's important for you to attend, and why are you here?
Well, I'm here to be a Jewish voice in support of the Palestinian people's struggle. Normally, I would say for liberation, but now I have to say for survival.
So why is it important as a Jewish person? Because a lot of times we see the conflation of Zionism and Judaism. Why is it important for Jewish people to speak up?
Well, clearly Zionism is not Judaism. Judaism's not Zionism, but sadly, tragically, I feel very responsible as a Jew for the suffering of the Palestinian people. I mean, it's being done by Jewish people. I wouldn't say it's the Jewish people, but Jewish people are doing that. And it's very important for other Jews to participate in stopping it. That's what we have to do. It's our moral responsibility to show up.
And we see, important for our viewers to know that there also obviously are a lot of Christian Zionists as well, so it's not exclusively Jewish, but they do tend to, especially from the Zionist side, to get conflated with the two.
Absolutely, and it's wrong. I mean, it's false. It's just it's a narrative that's been created to develop support for Zionism. But Zionism, actually, there's more Christian Zionists than there are Jewish Zionists. The biggest Zionist organizations in the world are Christians. Christians United for Israel in the U.S. And in Canada, I mean, Stephen Harper actually pushed more hardline positions than even Netanyahu did. And his foreign minister, John Baird. I mean,
Do you feel like Canada has done enough for what's taking place, the genocide in Gaza?
Not at all. No, Canada needs to do so much more. That's what we're trying to do here today in the Mississauga City Council, but Canada should sanction Israel. Really, Canada needs a two-way arms embargo that actually means something. I think Canada should expel the Israeli ambassador. They're committing a genocide. Canada continues to allow false charities to send millions of dollars that are subsidized by taxpayers to Israeli settlements and even support the Israeli military. There's so much more. There are ex-military personnel from Israel walking around here in Canada, people that actually are mass murderers can sit next to you on a bus or sit down at the table next to you in a restaurant, and they just came from Gaza from killing people. There are laws on the books against that, Canadian laws.
And I think that's important.
The military here in Canada actually induces people to enroll. There's a Canadian law called the Foreign Enlistment Act that prohibits that. But anyway, Canada needs to do a lot more. So our new Prime Minister has said some good things. It's time for him to do what he said.
Yeah, a lot of human rights organizations and people that work, the activists have said, just abide by Canadian laws, like you're saying, that already exist on the books.
We don't need anything new. We need to enact what's already there. That's absolutely right.
So today here, the motion passed. How do you feel about that? How does that make you feel?
Well, I feel very good. It passed unanimously. No one spoke against it, right? And Mississauga is the 6th largest city in Canada. It has close to 700,000 people living in it. So Mississauga, I think it's like the leadership of what needs to happen. And I hope that what the City Council of Mississauga did today will have some influence on the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister who was elected not far from here in Oakville. And we all have, there's so many different ways to be involved, so many things we can do, and we need to do all of them. So one of them was coming here today and supporting this motion.
So I just have a couple of questions left. Honestly, I feel like we need to do a longer interview with you and have, more structured things instead of just catching you here on the way out.
Yeah.
But just in regards to what's taking place here, I think it was, and maybe you could just reflect on this, that, a lot of times Mississauga, Canada, they celebrate diversity and inclusion. This was a real opportunity to actually put their basically money where their mouth is.
Yeah. One of the speakers today said how here in Mississauga there's a celebration of Lebanese culture, but nothing about Palestinian culture because Palestine's not recognized as a country. So certainly there are limitations on this idea of diversity. And frankly, it's up to us, the people who live here, citizens who vote, to elect a mayor like Carolyn Parrish. This came from her. If she hadn't been elected, this wouldn't have happened. So bottom line is every one of us needs to do many different things, right? Voting is one thing. We can raise funds to directly support people there who are desperate. We can talk with our neighbors, even just wear a badge or have a button showing that you support Palestine. Normalize support for Palestine. There's so much that we all need to be doing.
So you actually took the answer.
You know what? I want to say one more thing. There were two other Jewish speakers here today. Both of them came because I contacted them and asked them if they would. I never met them until I met the younger woman on Saturday. And then the other one was her mother. I never met her until I walked in here today. And I'm saying that to indicate how what we're doing is expanding. If you talk about it, if you bring it up with people, maybe you're not going to move them the first time you say anything. Sometimes I say like Coca-Cola doesn't advertise once and expect you to go out and buy their drink, right? You repeat the message over and over again. Little by little, we are going to tip the balance, make a difference, and seriously, one day Palestine will be free.
Yeah, I see. Obviously, the entire narrative, the perception, the way it's viewed has changed significantly from where we started to now. You actually answered the last question I was going to ask you, which is, what is your message to our viewers? If you have anything else you'd like to add, you feel free.
Yeah, I would say to every single person, know that you can do something and it will make a difference. You won't see the results right away, and that's just not how it ever works. But the more you do together with other people, the sooner this is all going to get worked out.
Rabbi, I hope we get another chance to speak soon. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you very much.
This is Ahmed Ramadan for Muslim Network TV and GTA Muslims Today. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned for more exclusive coverages, and let us know your comments below, what you think and other areas that you'd like us to cover. Assalamu alaikum.